Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us this afternoon for our City Council Budget Development Meeting. We'll go ahead and get started. Connie, could you please call the roll?
Sprague.
Here.
Cheatham.
Here.
Lurie.
Here.
Mansfield.
Here.
Ortega.
Here.
Stevens.
Here.
Black.
Here. Thank you. Agenda item number 2 is fiscal year 2023 budget presentation. Mayor Ballard will present a draft budget proposal for council members' consideration and input. Council, over the last few meetings, we've put things together, and the last meeting you directed us to bring this today so that we could have a vote and vote on it to move it to publication. And so you've asked us to reduce again, and so we've done that. And so I can say, as I go through this item, we'll just go through these again fairly quickly, so people know what we're talking about, hopefully, if they've been following along. At first, and then we'll turn the time over to you. So our revenue, taxes.
Mr. Mayor,
yeah.
just a question before you start. I may have missed it, and if I did, I apologize, but did we ever get the unfilled positions information?
I believe that was a request for this meeting for today, and so.
Oh, so it'll be presented versus
I'm
getting-
looking at our HR
I don't have a presentation on that.
for the number of unfilled positions that we have currently.
I don't have a presentation.
Did the council vote on that, or was that
No, but I sent you an email.
for the unfilled positions?
Yeah.
So I must have missed that, and I apologize
Okay.
if I missed
Okay.
that. Will you get me a list of the unfilled positions that I can get that to the council? Not necessarily right now, before our next meeting, so that they'll be able to take a look at that before the budget passes. Anyway, that being said, I apologize if I missed
Yep,
that
no,
in
no,
the email.
that's fine.
We'll move on. Revenue, taxes, the 3% is $899,808 is the dollar amount that we've been talking about and looking at. There's been one addition this morning. Power County got us the new construction numbers. And so if the council would like to take the new construction as well, with Power County, we've always planned on having the new construction from Bannock County. Power County's new construction for the city of Pocatello would be $2,556. $2,556. If the council would like to include that in the budget, that will need to be made as part of the motion.
Is that in our city
That is-
domain, or is it in the TIF district?
No, that's the city's portion of the new construction from
Okay.
Power County. They sent that over this morning, and so,
I guess I don't know what wood construct isn't in our TIF district.
well, they've had some upgrades and stuff like that, and they've also had the valuations, and Power County's doing what everything else does, and has gone up the values of facilities. So that is there. Additional revenue, state revenue sharing per AIC estimates, and that was all of those revenue sharing opportunities, $940,497. Additional liquor sales per AIC, an additional $38,330. Additional in all 3 franchise fees is $435,591. And
That's
newer and, what?
that's highway distribution.
The highway, what did I say? Did I say highway?
You said reductions in franchise.
Oh, I'm sorry. Additional and
Red one
highway
line.
distribution.
So do we have a quantified number for the reductions in franchise fees?
I can tell you what we reduced the gas by $565. And that's on your revenue sheet here.
We reduced the cable by 8,163, and we reduced electric by 858.
What was gas?
Gas was, we reduced it $565.
Thank you.
So it's on this sheet right here.
Yep, it's on your revenue sheet.
I'm just curious why we don't put that in as a negative balance when we're on this sheet.
I
Well,
can.
what we're talking about is the revenues, and the revenues here.
Yeah, but I mean, you just quantify it, put it there.
Hopefully this is the last time you'll see it, but it's been on here the whole time.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, and then we're looking at the new expenditures at 14.2% increase from Blue Cross. Salary changes are included, also included in this final number that that you've got here in front of you as well. And then also we've included the use of the reserves, or Fund 78 is included in the FY23 budget. All the new fuel estimates, the new employee request that you have approved, and then the additional expenditures from the tax solution worksheet, and the additional expenditures from, well, both of them, from 7/7 and 7/14/2022, both meetings.
And just for clarity for me, exactly which new positions, because we had a lot of discussion last time, and I don't honestly remember precisely where we ended up.
So those new positions are on
Third page.
the third page.
Utility locator.
So, yes, the new positions that are included in the budget include the two utility locators, the 2 police officers,
The zookeeper?
the zookeeper, the transit driver, the sanitation senior operator, and the sanitation machinist fab welder.
Thank you.
So there are a total of 8 new positions.
They're all on this form, they're just, it starts on page 2. See, the 2 police officers
Okay.
on page 2.
And then, as you asked us on page 2 of this memo, the departments got together. We've reduced the dollar amounts that you have asked us to reduce to make sure that we've balanced everything. And so we've done all of that. The departments did meet. It was amazing to see them work together to get us down to the number that you've asked us to do. We've included the $91,000 that you added for the modifier, the 5% modifier. And so at this point, the budget is balanced with the positive gap remaining at $238,521. And we've left that in there so that the street operations would be able to build some more reserves. If we have a horrible winter, we have an opportunity to do some stuff with that, and we may have to come back and it's there. It's in the streets, the street department. So
Is Chief O'Hearn available? Is anybody from fire here?
Chief O'Hearn is in a bunch of trainings, and he's not here.
'Cause
and
I'm
I
just
don't
curious.
know where fire is.
I'm curious because last week, or whenever that was, the tower truck was at 1.84 million and now it's 1.9, and he had a new bid.
Well, he was getting.
He is working on a new bid, but because he was gone this week and next week, he knew it was going to go up, but not by exactly how much. So we went ahead and added an additional 100,000 should we need it.
Oh, I thought the bid he had that day was his new bid at
no.
1.84.
It was his
Okay.
old bid, and he's working on getting a new bid.
Okay.
And because we have to go to publication, we're.
No,
super
I
worried.
misunderstood. I thought he already had gotten that, and he said this is the new bid, and I was wondering why they jacked it up from
No,
the
not
new
yet.
bid to this week.
No.
Okay.
No, so that's where that is. So, okay, with that, council,
So explain to me that where we are committing the gap $238,521 to the street department.
Yes, we're letting them bank the additional 238.
Why?
Where are we doing that in the budget?
Why?
Because if we're doing that in the budget, there wouldn't be a gap.
So the city of Pocatello is authorized to take a certain amount of tax money. The state of Idaho recognizes 8 tax funds. We, right now, are using 7 because you decided not to use the 3% foregone in the capital tax money. So if you take the amount that we are allotted and you divide it through the 7 tax funds as far as what they need on top of their additional revenue according to the ads and the requests that have come before you. Once we apportion that out, we have an additional 238,521, and we're proposing to put it back into the street operating fund since you're spending 2.4 million out of their reserves over and above the 25%. So that, like the mayor said, since winter comes first for us, if Tom has to spend the majority of his paving budget and then some, we've got a little bit banked outside of what we would need for the 25% reserve to pay our bills and pay our employees to do paving should he need it.
Okay, so where does the 238 park?
So it's tax money that we haven't apportioned, and so we're gonna give it to street so that it takes all of the tax dollars that we are allowed to take.
So it will be in
It
mayor
will be in
account.
streets.
It will be in
the
street
department.
reserves.
Okay, so we're moving, so we really don't have a gap because there's a plan to use it.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Just so that it's clear to everybody, I left that out so that you know it's above what they need to balance and would let them continue to bank a little more since you're taking 2.4 million out of their reserves for the asks that they've had.
They have typically done that through the years. And I mean, clear, but as long as I've been here, and that has been the explanation. Winter comes first. If they use all of their money in winter, then they've got to have something for paving. And so they've always banked a little bit there just for that. And so that's just continuing that same practice.
So I
Chris?
would,
I haven't, well,
okay, I have a question, but I also have a proposal, and
what is,
Go ahead.
well, I'm just curious, on page 2,
Right.
Ann, the big, of the solution.
Okay?
The big section at the bottom
Yep.
with the yellow, where off to the right, things are cut. Are those things that have been cut or things that we need to vote to cut?
No, I have made a notation in the yellow things. You added the $91,000 modifier, plus you took out the $325,642 of the 1% O&M. And so the departments had a gap to cut, and we all got together, and those are the
sorry.
amounts that we have cut.
I'm sorry.
And then we've moved the, I've adjusted, so for example, if you'll note, we'll just do the first one in the mayor, council O&M. The remainder, should you wish to, of our O&M increase is $530 because we did cut $440. The next one is eliminate our vehicle savings, which is already out. It's part of also what we cut to help balance from the 91 increase and the 325 reduction. So these are things that have already been cut, and the amounts on the left are what are remaining should you choose to do anything further.
Chris?
This has been cut, but this is what's left.
Chris?
yeah, I would propose that we, out of the 238, that we restore the $10,000 cut from Parks and Rec, because we've been running them, breathing through straws for, certainly since I've been on council. And I don't see their overtime going down, because I don't think that whatever small increase is going to happen for seasonal employees is going to fix their personnel issue. So I propose And I don't know, do you want me to propose, make a motion? What do you want me to do here?
I have to make a motion.
I think
All
you have
right,
to
I
a
make,
motion.
I make a motion that we restore the $10,000 cut from Parks O&M for all the reasons that we've heard from
From
John.
the 238.
And it come from the $238,000 gap that was going to be entirely allocated to streets.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, council.
I have a quick clarification question. Are those funds just general tax or are they specific street tax?
They're all just general.
Just general tax?
Yep.
Okay.
We can apportion them however we wish between the 8 tax funds. Up to the state mandated levy limit for each fund.
Right,
Which
and
we're
that's-
well below
Okay,
for
that's
all.
I think that's the
Yes.
question I think I was asking,
Yes.
so.
Okay, so we have a motion by Stevens and a second by Ortega. Connie, could you please call the roll?
Stevens?
Yes.
Ortega?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Cheatham?
Yes.
Lurick?
Yes.
Mansfield?
Yes.
So in this, we will add that back into parks. Rick and then Linda.
Mr. Mayor, I would make a motion that we approve the budget proposal as it was just amended
Power County funds?
I-
Power
For
County funds?
publication,
for public, and include the Power County edition that we saw this morning.
Second.
okay, we have a motion by Cheatham and a second by Mansfield. And then we have
I have a
some
question.
questions, and I know Linda had her name up and, or hand up, and so
She
I don't
can
know
go
if she
first,
still.
that's fine.
You still have a,
I was going to propose adding in one thing, or us reconsidering it.
okay,
I don't know
well,
if you're willing to consider this to amend your motion. But I would like to try one more time to approve the $3,400 for the free clinic. We talk about wanting to help the people that are struggling in this community, and nobody does more to help the people that are struggling than the free clinic. And I think it's $3,400, and I think we should do it. And I would suggest the same thing, that we take that out of that
238.
238.
I can support that.
Well, we have a motion on the floor, and
Yes, second.
and I'll let him think about that if he wants to adjust that or not, but.
I
Before
do
we
not.
vote, I have a
before-
question.
Before we do that, then
So,
Claudia.
I guess, Brent, this one's for you. This 23.6, this $12,000 out of planning, where is that from?
That's coming out of my professional services line item. So the amount that I'm requesting is just an estimate. I don't know exactly what that consultant is going to cost. So if it comes over the amount that I have, I'd have to come back to council to get approval for that estimate. So,
That would have been the same, I mean, you
yeah,
cut
it was-
that in half, it would have been the same
Yeah,
if we're over
it's,
that.
it's the same
anyway, so.
either way. It's just a guesstimate at this point, so we'll see where we land and we can
Okay.
come back to council.
Okay, so there was a question, and we've got a motion on the floor. There was a question for an amendment to that motion.
I would not accept that. I think the free clinic is a county function, and they need to shoulder that responsibility.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to publish as presented here.
I got a question.
Yes.
You're adding in the 2556 from back. So we're really just replenishing the 238 by $7,500 rather than
Yeah.
just rough numbers.
Yeah.
So what happens if streets doesn't need that 238? Can we at some point do a budget amendment and redirect that to a specific department? Who knows the answer to my question? I don't know who to look at.
I believe you can.
So say they don't use it, right, this winter, say we only get 3 inches of snow and everything's hunky-dory. So at some point, can we redirect that money to the slide if we want? Or to the roofs at Ross Park, or?
So don't hold me to this, because again, I'm just the idiot who volunteered to do this.
That'll teach you.
I know, I will never do it again. I've already said, not it. I believe that you can, yes.
We're not 100% positive, but we'll follow up on that too, but
Because I'd be curious to know, because if they don't use it and it's there, we should be able to use it for
Well,
something
but
else.
if it's in a line item for the street department,
So yes, they're not budgeting to use that, they're just budgeting to bank that to their reserve.
okay, so, but we're banking it within a department.
Correct.
Why not just bank that, and if they need it, we do a budget amendment?
And that's what we're doing. We're just banking it. It's not
Okay,
being,
so it's really not going to the department.
So it's really in the general
It's
fund?
going to the general fund reserve or to?
no,
Fund
it's going to the
78?
street department reserve, because it is going into their revenue stream. It's being included into their revenue stream, so that it will then, but it's not being included in their expenditure side,
Right.
so that it will just, it will roll into their
But
reserves.
But why can't we just park it in the general fund?
You can if you would like to.
And then if streets needs it, then at that point,
Yes. That's doable.
and I'm wondering, Council President Cheatham, if you would be willing to amend your motion to include that so that it's very clear that it's that 228 is on a if needed basis versus for streets versus, 6 months from now, nobody really remembers and they don't need it, but they have it.
You can do
We
that.
have, as I remember, approximately $2 million in excess reserves. And I don't think another $238,000 or
28.
228 plus the 2,500, 230,000 is going to make much of a difference here. If we need to use reserve funds or decide to use those reserve funds for one of these other projects, we've got $2 million already set aside we could easily use.
Yeah, but we were reluctant to do things, for example, like the roofs at Ross Park, et cetera.
I was in
et cetera.
favor of that.
Anyway, so what I'm trying to do is say that if it's not needed by streets, then can we have it clearly designated that then it goes back to help other departments that didn't get that consideration?
I'm not willing to amend my
Okay,
motion to include.
all right.
Okay, all right, Josh?
And the one point I wanted to bring up, hey, Tom, how much money could you spend on repaving streets right now? And I bet you could take every dime that you would get to repave? Sorry, yeah.
Tom Kirkman, Deputy Public Works Director. I'm a team player, so I'll do whatever you guys want, but we could absolutely spend every cent of every penny that we could get. Unfortunately, our road network is old, it's very extensive, and it's deteriorating faster than we're keeping up with it, unfortunately. And it's the same with every other department, I understand that, but that would be very valuable to us as well. So it's just,
But again, that could be said about
absolutely.
virtually any department, and so.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I guess the comment I just wanted to make then is given that need, I feel more comfortable, along with Council President Cheatham, in keeping that money in streets as a clear designation of that's our intention, is to improve the infrastructure of our community, and that money is earmarked for that. While it may not 100% be used there, that's kind of our intention. I think that's a good intention.
Okay, super. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor from Council President Cheatham, a second by Councilmember, it was Mansfield, right? Mansfield. Just wanted to make sure.
That's my name. It
Yeah.
hasn't changed.
Hasn't changed. With that, Connie, could you please call the roll?
Cheatham,
Yes.
Mansfield,
Yes.
Bray,
No,
Lurick,
Yes.
Ortega,
No.
Stevens,
No.
Platt,
Yes. I think we've done a lot of work here, and so yes. Okay, what else do we need to do? Anything, Linda?
Just wanted to thank Ann. I know this was a thankless task, and all of our department heads, our staff, everybody who worked so hard to put this together. It's just kudos to all of you. Thank you so much.
Only
I think
group
it's a great
participation.
budget.
What's that?
Definitely group participation event this year.
Yes.
Every department head was involved, more than they've probably ever been involved in it. So a shout out to all the department heads as well. But, Ann, will you please remember, take a note to add and include that 2556 from Power County?
Yes,
For
and I
us.
will change the parks as well.
Okay, super.
Absolutely.
So, Mr. Mayor, can you
Yes.
help me understand, since we didn't get, and it's not a blame statement, it's just a statement of fact, since we didn't get the unfilled positions and therefore couldn't factor it into this budget that will go to publication, could you outline the process from publication forward and how you envision that working so that we have an opportunity with further information to make appropriate deliberations?
Absolutely. So today's meeting was to get the approval to publish the budget as presented. So we will go to work filling out that paperwork to publish that. It will go to the paper tomorrow. It will publish next Wednesday. State statute says you've got to publish 2 weeks ahead of the public hearing, twice. And so it'll publish Wednesday, and then the following Wednesday it will publish for the second time. Next meeting that we have will be on the 4th, which will be Thursday evening. That will be the public hearing. We will have a public hearing. I will close that public hearing. The week after that, which I'm doing my math, it may be right, it may be wrong, but it's like the 11th. We will have a study session. That study session will give us the opportunity to discuss what the community has said and make any changes. After we send this to publication, we cannot increase
Right.
the ask.
Right.
We
But
can decrease the
right.
ask. We cannot increase. That will be up to the council what they do on the 11th. On the 11th, after the council discussion that we have there, we will have our legal department prepare an ordinance with the numbers and everything for the council's consideration on the 18th. 18th?
Yes.
For the ordinance to be passed. And then we have, after that ordinance is passed, we have got to get those numbers to the county. And I believe those numbers to the county, I'm looking over at our attorney, and I don't know that he knows.
And that's okay.
Is on.
Once it's out
it
of
needs
our
to be-
hands,
yeah,
then.
it needs
it's-
to be there by the first Tuesday of September, I
Right.
believe.
September 6th is when the L2 is due.
So September 6th. And so that will be the process as we move forward.
I also ask that we get a report from the PDA in terms of the Northgate TIF district and what our payment could be expected to be, and I haven't received anything on that.
Or what the prognosis is at this
Well,
point.
and I know that people think that it's just not nowhere in terms of, it is the same process that we use for our rate studies. We hired someone to do a prognosis, and it's the same thing. And so we should be able to quantify what has come in so far.
Brent's here. I'm sure he'll make a note of that and
Okay.
Get that done. Okay? All right, thank you, council. We'll see you back tonight at 5 o'clock for our special council meeting. Thank you very much. With that, we are adjourned.